Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming out to an evening of poetry at the Adriance Memorial Library. We meet the third Thursday of every month, 7 p.m. And I'm Deborah Schoen, and I try to book poets throughout the year to give you this evening. And tonight, for National Poetry Month, we have Gordon Riggs. He's been a poet in the Hudson Valley since I can remember. And thank you so much for agreeing to be our feature this evening. And what else? What else? What else? Oh, well, happy National Poetry Month. And if you all join me in giving Gordon a nice warm Poughkeepsie welcome.
One of the things that there's a writing group that comes through here, and I wasn't there because I was still getting my bearings coming back from Panama. So, they had words they had to write, for this writing group. So I'm gonna start off with that, and then I'm just gonna go, and then someone to say, stop, please, or more, bravo, but whatever. So here we go. And so part of it was I should have stayed home. And that was the essay for the group. So here we go. I should have stayed home, but I had a poetry feature in April to do. And not to be fooled, I let the creature comforts of home wait. I should have stayed home for that moment of pause before the wind breathes its breath upon flower, seed, and tree limb, dancing your vessel, uncorked, overflowing, in the springtime of a song, not for Hitler in Germany, but a gamble for that Stanley Cup, post-COVID, and rendezvous with the destiny, not of confusion, but resonate the time and sharing of this poetry, poems, audience, the poetry Stonehenge, not Spinal Tap, but poet, audience, reciprocity. Hear the creed, keepers of the gates, the knights of the realm that protect us from the jackals of the streets. Yeah, me too. Granny Bird. It's a good thing to get away to that awareness out there, the awkwardness as well. I can feel the sun, see its reflected color, primary turn to yellow from white, blue sky to clear the sun well. The pine and abrevieties scent streams the breeze to witness chirping, chatter. Those with wings set for winter sing sweet choruses. With the roving whispers channeled through sentinels, leafless limbs like veins without its blood, to course through, but it goes deeper to roots dormant. Winter coat covers the drifting sighs awaiting the release when the time comes and spring awaits. Patience to consider the way the sun sets with a bit more light. Then the ballet of shrubs, reeds and trees, pine, emerald green, choreographed movements of ritual. Nature teaches if you listen, hear, touch, feel. Outside the cabin-fevered pitch, my humanity needs the connection. It needs it. We gathered crops, made tools, hunted, made our fires to tell our stories, our lives to the future present, and the moment to be alive. Cobwebs shaken, not stirred. This is based from a prompt, and it's called The Slave Girl Folded Her Fan and Turned on My Air Conditioner. The slave girl folded her fan and turned on my air conditioner. At first thought, how could a slave girl fold up her fan and turn off my air conditioner? There were no air conditioners in the days before the War of the Rebellion. Yet, it is all about a sense of place, and she knows her place in the time I choose to come south of Dixie, to drink and cheer as the beads thrown Baton Rouge, the vodka and voodoo graves. I wander in the wonder of that fixed control, the role played to the past glories of lordship and plantation owner. My sweat pours. She knows her craft to appease as the heat cooks us both. Mardi Gras, Dixie band play, Louis, trumpets sounding in the distance. She knows without instruction the cultural art generations imprinted. The merry-go-round and around, like the bass drum, trombone, trumpet, ragtime. Geisha girl of Japan, what are you doing here? Is it business or pleasure?
What's your poem about spring called? Do you have a title for it?
The one for spring?
Yeah.
Granny Bird.
Granny Bird.
Granny Bird. Granny Bird is Big Bird's grandmother. And it was on TV at the time when the poem came into construction. So that was the only way I could remember was a Granny Bird. Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. That being said, caught in the storm. Caught in the storm of my own doing. Choices and consequences made the wave riding to the shore a rough one. Through the shark-invested waters. And notice, I am aware of the infestation that is on sale to heal my mind, emotions, and body to the corporate shareholders. That is, the rein that controls the how of it all. He who controls the gold, the coin knows where the herd will run. Branding is the name of this game to sell it all and have repeat consuming. Ever so, just for this rider of the storm, yes, into this house we were born and thrown into a world without a stage, or at least on a loan. If it can be afforded like my dog, I dig a hole, but no bone to be had or found, ever seeking through nose to ground, sense can be sought for pound. Hound it, caught in the storm. Another prompt, Borges' prompt. Sunset is always disturbing, and the clouds cross over to block the sun's light, to warm the inside out. The right side up, that place in the mind, heart, memory of when I was young, and the world held its breath for those still shot postcard moments of blue cobalt sky pure, yellow golden fire star warming my skin, alighting the pine emerald green of grass and trees, rainbow flower and the buzz, yellow and black flying zebras, holding mother's hand in wonder of the setting, painting of white, gray, blue, Pegasus and sky galleons, streaking Jacob's ladder and more spectrum color rainbows, this time doing the darker shades. Then time marches on and life has lessons, opportunities, and losses. I remember these times and those moments alone. In your hand is a memory fading as the sun sets in its ways, just as your ashes settled. Timeshares. For entertainment purposes only, our commission hero will distract, bluff, then attract and lure you into the vanity of mind's greed. Hey, anything sexual better be PG-13 approved. That being said, who knows how far the bar is raised or lowered? I would argue the latter in this day and media age. Come join the lemming herd. The commission hero sees all, knows all, gets in front of the direction of the masses and says, hey, follow me. and then jets out in time before the plunge, over the cliffs, not of Dover. Now for something abrupt. Time is counting down, people. Remain calm. All is well. Did you ever notice in all the movies seen, that person usually gets trampled to death or for comedic purposes flattened like a pancake and that doesn't rise? What, you may ask, does this have to do with timeshares or commission hero? Absolutely nothing. The point being, were you paying attention along the literary ride? Well, it's handwritten through thought to synapse, to sinew, to muscle, bone, then to pen, onto canvas of paper. Ink black, hand script opposed to print. Then it's read aloud. I don't know if anyone follows the royals, but Meghan and Harry, and it's going to be the coronation or whatever, the indoctrination of the king. I mean, I did have to say I did watch some of the funeral services, and I was taken by the bagpiper as he walked out in the distance, which was the pageantry of it all. But that being said, I have some family history to the Wadsworth and to my father's side of the family, being of English descent. So if I had ever a chance to see the King of England to be, this would be the poem I would read to him. And it goes like this. What burns my toast? What burns my toast? Loose, wild, and free. Why didn't I read it at home or read where the wild things are and proclaim myself the king? Charles of no Charles, I can be the better one, and here's how. Narnia is real. Bed knobs and broomsticks, Aslan. Aslan, I call upon you from my man-child memory. Those captivated moments as teacher read, stone tablet broken, hair shaved, creatures of darkness, brother and sisters, and one betrayed. But she did not see before the dawn of time to know the deeper magic. And with the crack of stone, the warm breath to give life to stone, Aslan's army grew, as did the Mayflower descendants, and the Charter Oak, Wadsworth, that is, the deeds hidden within proof of lineage of an upstart from the colonies across the pond to proclaim the unfledged loyalty, not forgotten, younger, hipper, faithful Whig Tory of the old King George returned. What burns my toast is no gluten-free English muffins. My first order of my reign, Wadsworth English muffins, gluten-free. Thank you, guys. Yes. A thirst. A thirst of a flower dying in the desert is like mother showing her heart to the child's whim, wanting and knowing about life, humble though by circumstance, allowing by chance to grow or diminish, both lessons, awarenesses, those journeys and experiences to shape, mold, and project or influence a change, a spark, a light bulb of an idea to flourish, held by a willingness to be or not to be, is the question asked many times on this road to somewhere, to nowhere. And to that, Cyclops, I am not a nobody, but a somebody. Yes. A rested body? No. A creative seeker to the meeker dealings in the world. The lesson now is to learn how to wield a sword and heal in knowing when not to use it. And if too, with a balance, a justice for the weaker times, to provide a moment, an opportunity to thrive, strive, etch out in clay, charcoal, canvas, or stone, Kilroy was here too, just a passing vessel on this vast ocean, steering the rudder and holding the sails just enough to witness not a cursed albatross, but a star, a guiding light to that place, the ever forward. I am a Star Trek fan, and I submitted this to the science fiction magazine. Father was a big Asimov fan, so I have a lot of books to read. But that being said, mind melding the Vulcan way. Mind melding. Mind melding to the Star Trek fan of old. All mind can do is wrap around the image of Spock in the parallel universe, an evil conquering one where he had a goatee. Kirk, Scotty, Uhura, and Bones had to fake it to make it, the reasoned attempt to the other Spock, the possibility of change. So all or nothing, Star Trek fans, I appeal to the Federation of Planets that we can have a future together. Ignorance and fear walk hand in hand. Put not on the face twisted and grotesque. Humble that our ways may not be best for all, but willing to let it be possible. Mirror, mirror on the universe's wall, can there be an earth that strives and lives in peace for all? Mind melding. All right. All right, this is another one of our group wordings of the writers group. There's 9 of the words. But anyways, foreshadowing hope, perception, coincidence. Pass on the moment, rapscallion, handkerchief, and narcissist. Wordings. Here it goes. Aren't flowers the stars of the earth, she said. And he replied, yes, close to the edge and down by and near the river at morning's rise. Perhaps it was a foreshadowing of hope and the normal limits to human perception. They met by coincidence, drawn to Bollenstreck, to the majestic gardens of Kirkenhof. Unlike the apple scruffs of Beatlemania, this a fortunate stroke of serendipity. Both scholars of the tulip mania, the bubble and crash to the value of tulipa in the land of windmills drew them. A pass on the moment of reason or doubt, pulled by an instinct unknown like salmon yearning to exhaustion and death, to return to the spawning grounds and pools for which they were birthed into the realm of mortal living. Alas, he was an embodiment of a rapscallion, of old silk tie and handkerchief, distinguished enough to charm the sail's rights, documented with a forger's touch and years of practice. One does not need to commandeer on the high seas, just persuade with enough blunt adjectives, and the meaning drifts into thoughts of submission. Lust, love, adventure, commodities given, and payment reward. Yes, an embodiment of old, her strategy starts in the heart. Vulnerable and seductive, giving a smile and always a toast to the victor, allowing them a choice to drink or not to drink, a remedy that serves her kind for ages. Red, the most vibrant silhouette in black. You have to dye the hue of night, and some may have grown that way, but you will see everything and feel little or nothing. By law, what was yours will be mine, darling husband. Look at our field of rainbow hues and look me in the eyes, dearest, when I say, it would be a face without a smile, a feast without a welcome. Know me now, for I am the narcissist of the highest order. They call me Madam Widow, like a letter edged in black. wordings. Okay. The skeleton in the closet kept me awake all night with their racket. The skeleton in the closet kept me awake all night with their racket, even when I left the ghost light on. And I'm not even superstitious, and yet you couldn't haunt a house, barn, theater, or an alley fence, let alone play tennis. So keep your keys and your secrets to yourself. You could wake the dead. Maybe that was the point. You're not a keysmith. Just the secret regrets fostered by family ties that think nobody can see any turbulence. Or to coin modern pop culture, a disturbance in the force, Obi-Wan. Unresolved like Ebenezer Scrooge and his business partner that forged his shackled chains to carry the burden in that purgatory unrest, where the spirit knows nothing but dread to inflict upon the unaware. Indifferent, self-centered, and uncaring mortals, where the hill have eyes wide open and see nothing past their own contorted script of fear, fear, and more fear. And lions, tigers, and bears does not apply because they have a survivor's sense to know their habitat and surroundings. The skeleton in the closet kept me awake all night with their racket because it found a way to jerry-rig the electrical cable and watch the news channel to find and support all causes, and found its support group and decided to practice before it preached in public. The skeleton in the closet kept me awake all night with their racket when it found a TMC on the boob tube and decided it was mad as hell and wasn't going to take it anymore. The skeleton in the closet kept me awake all night with their racket when the crust of the Sandman's journey awoke me, myself, and I to realize that a dream within a dream is just that. Some static clinging to the REM sleep deposits that make a way to pen and page better out than in. Shaboom, shaboom. Do a couple more and then I'll keep going. All right, I'm going to keep going, guys. Your own name even. Your own name even says something more than that's right. We got to find the Earl. Where is he? In Long Island, you said? Your own name even speaks volumes without wonder. It is unusual, Tom Jones, because his birth name given is about a mountain, the highest in the world. Your own name even reminds the part and parcel spark that joined them together. Through them I arrived. By then I was given a sound vibration, answering to this day beyond their mortal tenure. Your own name even has the same beginning and ending letter to which I will not disclose to the audience members. The lesson plan is to make our gray matter think. Amanda, no time is the right time. Your own name even sparked an old memory, past, future, and now present. Your own name even is not your own name. It's not property ownership. Just a passing vessel on borrowed time doing my stewardship, learning from the intangible to the tangible. Your own name even has a rhyme and ring to its pronunciation. What was your life like? Where did you go? And I am glad and grateful that you decided to write this poem's beginning. Your own name even is a marvel of the wonders upon spaceship Earth, a grain of sand, the vast beach upon that ocean. Your own name even struck fear into the minds of the fallen, the element of darkness. You made them fear and made me think, how cool would it be or not to be the dark night? Your own name even is the reminder to me that all things must pass. What beauty and connection it has meant, and what legacy I hope to inspire for those who come after my tour is done. An oldie but goodie. Nature's Untitled. Fountain streams, chorus themes of mourning doves, nightingales, and whippoorwills. Water lilies sparkle white and pink with flax and gold at the morning's rise. Harp in hand by the pools of foam silver, coral, and earth brown. Ebony chestnut, dark amber flows curled and wavy her hair. Pearl cream skin, enchanted like the moon, and eyes of old forests. Silkworm woven, sapphire diamond her gown. Then laughter and dancing, singing and chanting, the voices of brooks, wind and wildflowers. Birds of all feathers chorused long, and then I called to her in voice, but became projected thoughts of mind. Hearken my word, good tidings, and greetings all around. Please by your leave, allow me the pleasure, the privilege, the knowledge to your name. For now I am unsure, I would deem this moment but a waking dream. Fear not, curious one, son of Adam. 'Tis not a dream, for my name is many, and I am no daughter of Eve. When the stars were young, and the ground, earth, and seas boiled, shook, and quaked, I began the waking song of the sapling trees. In fertile lands, welcomed the petals and flower blossoms to show their faces and witness the birth of the birds and the bees. But surely you jest with no disrespect, for you look younger, not older than myself. Trouble not your mind, Adam's son, for there are many wonders and mysteries that cannot be phantomed in this world. Embrace what you hear, feel, and see. Take the moment, the instant at hand, for what do your senses tell you? Many things, they reveal great splendor and some great doubt. Hence, I have been in long study of the universities of man. Science, technology, and the economy are the substance of truth they claim to be true. Methinks more so the secret brotherhood of stock and trade. I am a wanderer, a gatherer of art, you could say, and at times numbed for the better, and at times numbed for the worst. Come then, Adam's son, walk with me a while, and open your mind, your spirit, your senses, and then ask yourself, what have I to contribute? Lady Liberty, Lady Liberty. The gift of resolution, the first of 8 lighthouses along the mighty Hudson. And welcome home and bring me you're tired, you're poor, and you're hungry. Like John Lennon flashing the peace sign at the base, I held my hands up raised with bold conviction, even when Liberty Island PD surrounded us. I was only giving my nephews liberation, allowing their first beady smokes under her torch. This is something I think, why it reminds me of my folks, I don't know, but it does. And it's called The Beams of the Cedar. The beams of the cedar have that aged, ripe scent of time. Summer's heat of relics in the attic capsuled memories stored, and winters cemented their presence when we sat to carol or pray. The beams of the cedar hold to the evidence of tears and sweat and toil of muscle and tool, coordinated to create a place to gather. I wonder what forest from seed or acorn you grew, sprouted, thrived, and strived towards light and water, earth, insects, and animals, neighbors you sheltered and shared space to grow. The beams of the cedar held their form well, decay of the elements battled and worked there with patience. Others joined the effort not to subdue, but complement, and grew emeralds, red jewels in the springtime and scarves of crimson in the fall. The beams of the cedar remind me when their vows shared and returned them back to the ash and element for which we share those beams of the cedar. Indeed. Okay. There's a poem about nouns and verbs. Nouns and verbs. Here we go. The boy could say little to be like a robin singing in the sky blue, and have freedom like the wind blowing through pine trees, that chorus movement. Move and think like a car or a boulder, stationary. How do I build a car or make a boulder into a rock or stone? Transition, yellow, dandelion, and then look old, circular, spiked white with green grass beneath, and tell the wind to look towards the seeds sailing, with a bird song, chorused ballet of tree limbs to settle, pilgrim boy on the undiscovered country. And who do we trust is dog written backwards. So it all boils down to the person, the place, or the thing. You are doing cause to your man and not the color of your skin. What action or drive makes you move, boy? And what do you think, boy? And what is your state of being, boy? Not a bird, not a plane. You are Superman. All right. Verbs and nouns. That's right. That's right. Free to write was a freedom sought after his ancestors stepped on the pilgrim Plymouth Rock, boarded the ships to sail uncharted waters, in their mind's eye that could only see that the world was flat. Tired of the rhetoric dictated how to be, where to be, and how to think and know your position back in rank and file. Did not sit well with them. So sails and wind, then wagon, then train. That remained was a willingness to seek a broader horizon, manifest a destiny, just as long as you look like me, sound like me, or like me so I could hold your land and call it home. Jaded and disillusioned, he writes now to dispel that faded crust of yesteryear, and now builds a foundation to mention that the mind can play tricks on what is lost and not found. Truth and fact help build that reason. How? Honest, open, willing, change, grow, live. Madam Moderator, should I continue or should we stop for? All right, let's keep. All right. Who wants to hear an outrageous story? An outrageous story? All right. I told you it's outrageous, so here we go. Hold on here. Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. It's called A Story. The beginning, the middle, the end. The story. Just kidding. Yes, the story. The beginning, the middle, the end. Oh, you know how the story goes. Goldilocks meets the three sleeping bears. No, that's not the beginning. It's a boy meets a girl. They go up a hill to fetch a pail of, that's all I remember. So it's about a girl and her red hood visiting her grandmother in the woods before she turned into a werewolf after seeing an old gypsy wagon lady who read her palm the twilight beginning of a full moon. Grandmother was worried about a little Red Riding Hood walking alone in the woods. She heard a rumor about a prowling wolf. And little to her surprise, he was a player. Zoot suit with all the slide trombone, a jazz musician from Chicago. He wooed her right to her house and bedroom. Grandma had to think quick, so she busted out her sassy can-can dress from her speakeasy days before Prohibition. And man, did he howl. Please don't eat me yet. Wait until the moon is full and you'll have me bare boned and without a fuss. I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. And she flashed him her trademark can-can dance move, 'cause Grandma was a looker in her prime and could still shake, rattle, and so roll. Howling Wolf was ready to rumble, just as the moon peeked in through the window. Hey, Granny, what large eyes, teeth, ears, mouth, and hair and claws you have. Is this part of the Mardi Gras costume dress? Now the hunter became the hunted. It happened quick, a whirlwind of torn fur, and the suit shredded like ribbons, like a ticker tape parade. It was no party. It was no disco. It was no 1941 Lon Chaney Jr. stranglehold damsel in distress fooling around either. Sunday, bloody Sunday. You too, do you catch the drift? Good, because so did Little Red Riding Hood. She moves in mysterious ways. Red had been making her way to grandmother's house. After she stopped over her BFF, Goldilocks, their friendship is the kind that was frowned upon generations ago. Two young girls isolated in the woods, discovering the changes in the season, the birds and the bees. You follow? That's Doyle Lonigan, reference for the youngsters in the audience. 1973, something a bee or hornet does. Don't make me go quint on you. You follow? Right, where was I? Yes. Little Red Riding Hood, along the way, found a black book on the path to Grandma's. Apparently, the big bad wolf was a city slicker and had all his marks, mainly widowers he would find in the obituary section of the local papers and all. Anyway, Red made her way just enough time to witness the carnage. And to her dismay, werewolf or Grandma's case where women have heightened sense of smell and sight, and yeah, you have entered the twilight zone. At first, she smelled the basket of baked bread, cheese, strawberries, and wine, and then saw the red hood. And then all bets were off, and she bolted from her house like a force of unnatural nature. Even so, Little Red had the presence of mind to throw the wine bottle in time to cause a fireball explosion in the fireplace. As a rosebud, or I should say a brownie, learning from her brownie adventure, she picked up some quick thinking skills, as did her partner Goldie, when they met at the local school Girl Scout chapter a year prior, where their friendship had blossomed in more ways than one. Both girls knew the wood inside out from their many adventures, and this time Red knew what to do. In the moment of distraction, she beelined her way to Goldie's and was about to have a rude awakening. Now, to set the record straight, Goldie was a squatter and burglar. She hooked up with Red to case out Grandma's house because Little Red told her everything. Granny's late husband was an adventurer, a soldier of fortune that had received the Silver Star in the European campaign, where he met Grandma in France during her can-can days, c'est la vie. So she had been around the proverbial block and experimented on some taboo aspects that Red, who was blossoming to the call of nature, was green and willing. The bears had enough of Goldie and her ways, strong of scent and a cub to raise. They went tribal and primal, and she knew by instinct it was time to get the hell out of Dodge. Goldie was a pitch hitter and managed to gaslight Jack, the opportunist, to plant a beanstalk and pirate out the giant's digs for the golden goose. Once again, witness to a beanstalk rocket, Red parting words, "You gold-digging witch." Red's goose was cooked and high-tailed across the meadow field with grandmother in hot pursuit. Human scent was the call of her wild, and bare bones are nothing. Were-woman she may be, but girls in union never in her day. Discipline and ladylike culture must be maintained. Lady luck or Murphy's law, you decide. But there in the meadow field, 3 little pigs were making their way, now the long way home with an emergency uninvited guest. Straw, twig, now brick, they laid huddled, and Grandma blew and blew on the brick house. She wailed. Just as the bricks rattled and shook, Red remembered her grandmother's silver star she kept to remember him by, and slingshot it right into Grandma's gaping mouth. Grandma, she twisted, she shouted, and then there was a lot of shaking going on. And in the end, my friends, well, you know Morrison's version, and if not, Google The Doors. Well, as for Red and the pigs, the moral of the story, as Robert Crumb would say, keep on trucking.
So I brought a couple of poems. I bought a Rumi poem for National Poetry Month. So it's called Letting the Beauty We Love Be What We Do. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. So I wrote this poem recently. It's an ode to my African violet. A gift from my mother, a plant like no other, your leaves of soft velvet, a welcome gift so unexpected. When you first arrived, your leaves flourished, but you would not flower. I went to my sister's, and her many African violets were all abloom in violet. My heart saddened and asked, why not mine, my lord? I was happy for her and sad for me, an inkling of jealousy. Then mine bloomed 3 with 3 more on the way, bursts of fuchsia, not even violet. My grandmother always had one on her dining room table, watered once a week, but I never remember it to flourish. The trick is to water them from the bottom. They sit in a little water in a pot, and it drinks from the bottom up, and do not ever wet the velvety leaves. Lord, thank you for the African violets throughout the world entire. And this one is, I just love this poem so much. I love, as my son used to call them, dandelions. And so I was in this Dodge Poetry Festival online class, and we were to read each other's posts. And I came across this beautiful ode to dandelions. And it's called Ode to Dandelions after William Blake. And it's by Janine from Flagstaff, Arizona. And it's one of those poems that you read and it's like, oh, I wish I had written that. And now the dandelions are everywhere and they're just so brilliant to see and I love them. My holy companion called it yellow heaven. And, you know, it gets me so mad when they mow the lawn because then they're all cut up and dead, right? But for right now, they're all out. So this is the way it goes. Ode to dandelions. Kingdom of coin-sized suns, you crown the slender thread-like grasses of summer lawns, rocky hillsides and dark forests with your royal beauty. Wrongfully titled a common weed, your dazzling yellow scatters lily-putin plates of light, feeding bees who banquet inside your nectar, bestowing and propagating gladness with promises of green-growing things. Come spring, you rebirth the dark soil with calcium, bringing delight to children running barefoot before breakfast through the wet grass. They pluck you with tiny hands after your brief, bright robes become airy globes of fairy fluff, the stuff of dreams, their small balloon-like cheeks puffing as they wish and wisp you far and away from their lamb-white feet at play in the fields of the Lord.
What a good series this is. What an opportunity to hear, to be inspired, to be creative, to get a feeling from somebody else, and then go home and do your own and hide it or maybe share it next time. So this is a good thing that the Library District offers. Gordon Riggs, a chance to hear a lot of work by him. And this is extremely prominent here because Deb gave her version, and this is springtime and this is dandelion time. Well, I am going to read a poem about dandelions, which is a little bit more harsh and a little bit more edgy than Deborah. So this is called The Attack of the Killer Dandelions. So I'll introduce myself formally. Peter Van Eyck is my name. I live in the city of Poughkeepsie. I've come to the series before, and it's always a treat, and it's always good to appear here. So, The Attack of the Killer Dandelions. Let loose your seeds of destruction so quickly strewn about, menacing and deadly. They cover what we worked so hard to achieve. First yellow, innocent and sedate, browsing along and seemingly alone. Then they came, more and more, until you could hardly clear a path. The broad green leaves turn and choke the other stalks. The pod turns cloudy white, relentlessly advancing, ready to unleash fearsome poison. So slender a stalk, yet mighty is the damage. So light and fragile, yet swift and deadly is the message. A horrible growing thing. Their multi-serpented heads glittering in the grass like death.
So I decided tonight to do then and now. So I was recently reminded of some stuff that I had written back in college by actually a Marist student who called me up, and because I was chief editor on the literary magazine, and he wanted to interview me because he's doing this whole cataloging of the old magazines. And so I started looking through it, and I was like, oh my God. This is from 2002, and then I'm going to read one from last year. So they're about half a lifetime apart. And so this is called In the Mirror, and they're both on the theme of what is the self. So In the Mirror. 20-year-old Dan. Okay. I see electron, proton, neutron being, protein, lipid, carbohydrate machine, cotton clothes wearer, pink skin carrier, and a billion Whitmanic pieces I might be. See toes, toenails, toe hair, see feet, see ankles and shins and calves, see knees with thighs and manroot and balls, see pelvis and torso, see belly and chest, see nipples and arms, see fingers and thumbs, see neck and head and tongue, see teeth and cheeks, see ears and eyes, see eyes, see eyes, see I am not these things, am poet, am Daniel, am vibrant, am singing, am typing, am verb, am me, am you, am E.E. Cummings and Whitman too, and not for some passing down of parts, but holy fragments of the mind. Am Kant, am Moses, am Jesus, am Buddha, am wild holy man grappling desperately at my reappearing God. Am Father, am Mother, am Holy Spirit too, am singing, am screaming, am glowing, am burning, am passion, am charging through, hair ape skin thing, deoxyribonucleic acid fuck machine, not this or that thing, am words, am thoughts, am calamity of thoughts, the depth of thoughts, the juxtaposition of thoughts, the back and forth reciprocity of thoughts, am God's own thoughts, am beauty, am every bit this poem, am every bit true, am every bit me, am every bit you. And so that was very, I'm not the body, I'm not the body, I'm not the body. And then this much shorter piece, which I wrote just this past year. Here we go. I do not trust memories. A photo, like a fortune teller, says the things you want to hear. I dust my bedroom to clear away what I have been. I pull the hair from my comb to know what I was. I wipe the breath from my lungs and watch what I become.
Oh, wow. Here's an old one. To all the singers out there. This is called a kirma. A kirma. When I sing songs sung, words rung for sound, presence and substance, not quite the impact for shock value, but of merit to the awakenings, such as, never have so few taken so much from so many for so long, so make no mistake, we walk softly and carry the biggest stick. Shebang. Like goes back to Teddy Roosevelt and his policies of the early America. Yes, which was fundamental in getting the Panama Canal made. So should I do one? Two more? All right, two more. Shaboom, shaboom. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Two more. All right. All right, well, do my favorite one. All right, two of my favorites. This is something my friend didn't make it tonight, but gave me an idea of like how to write what a poem's about. And so it's like, why don't you try looking at the Bible, because there's a lot of myths and fables and good stories. And so I'm very much into Art Brut, and which is Art Brut is institutionalized and untrained artists. So those who are incarcerated, those who are like, institutionalized, that would, fall outside of the realm of what normal society is. So I ended up reading the first like paragraph of Genesis, and it just like, sparked an idea. But this is what I think, for me at least, what poetry is about for me. And it's called Word Is. It has been written that in the beginning there was a word. Word is a morning's rise, illuminating clouds, trees bark, birds flight in cobalt sky. Word is moonlight, single swan feeding, silhouette virgin snow dusting with crystals shimmering. Word is open blue sky, gray rain clouds trailing along, Catskill viewed upon the mighty Hudson. Word is crows, craw, 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 crying. Word is streams, swirling, churning rapture. Word is birds' songs, chattering, shattering, conversing and telling. Word is red-tailed hawk, spiral ascent, then distant horse whispered, declaration answered. Word is heart thump, 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 thumping, ritual pump, pump, pumping, course in mind's eye, and echoed howls, racing through forest and open field, the sense to gather together to make fire for protection and storytelling. Word is wind sailing chimes of grasses and branches, of dances of leaves, twigs, and transparent clouds gasping. Word is giving and knowing when not to take. Word is intimate sharing. Word is healing. Word is health. Word is transforming. Word is strength. Word is validation. Word is laughter. Word is humor. Word is music for the soul. Word is conviction. Word is hope. Word is courage. Word is humble. Word is service. Word is creative. Word is love. Word is heart. Word is mind, and the distance traveled between. And the words is good ladies and gentlemen, because words are magic. The last one, it's part of a writing group I do, and so we had a couple of promptings and such, and our moderator was pleased with how it went, and challenged us to. So this is like it was like whatever you want, you are. It's kind of like the theme of the poem. What do you think you're about? That's always, what's it all about, Alfie? Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? What measure of success, and or not. So, 1 + 1 equals whatever I want. So burn into the fire of the wolf in the forest stream by the rapids, where trout call out to the bears to embarrass them as they do their business in the woods. Fertile is the ground upon which trees grow tall and roots that run deep, and the air that I breathe tells the song of myself, with me and I included. Journeyman of the spirit, having the human experience. From the womb of a woman I came, and her I called mother. Then the placenta parachute, and mine ass bottom crash to be struck, and then bellow, and trumpet lungs cried its pitch to be accounted one of the spectacular snowflakes unmelted, but unique in that no copy or clone there be in the universe known to this clumsy, imperfect meat sack with blood, sinew, skeletal bone, and fecal matter making its purge when necessary, organs that make a machine of bioelectric, then upon thought, flow, forge, and settle to metal, steel, some kind of meaning. I am enough. And Kilroy was here too, Dad, with your comrades of the war, whom with mother made a baby that I came through them, but not owned by them. My parents, who were but shepherds to guide, to show where the greener pastures of relative safety lay, and led as best they could directions and harness tools of the trade of human experience, to take a journey to see eventually on the other side of maybe, mystery, the quest of I don't know. So look and see what we shall see. What is, it is what it is, and that's all that it is. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.